second, and then again it will print the next value, right? You can see that now it's emitting values one by one. It is just coming. Hello everyone, welcome to Native Mobile Bits. In today's video we are going to start our reactive programming coding part, and this is going to be our second video of our reactive programming series, and we are going to use the same project which we are using inside our Jetpack Compose series. But to start RxJava coding part, we are going to create one new branch inside this project. Okay, so right now we are at master branch, and we can just check out to one new branch, and let's say we call it Rx. Okay, inside this branch we will be practicing all about RxJava. So there are few known terms, right? We know about RxJava, then there is something called Rx Kotlin as well, there is Rx Android as well, right? And if we talk about in terms of other languages, other programming languages, we also have Rx Swift, RxJS, and so many other things. So basically all of these are extension for reactive programming in that respective language. So if we talk about RxJava, so it's the implementation of reactive programming written in Java, right? If we talk about Rx Kotlin, so it's the implementation of reactive programming written in Kotlin. All of these terms are the implementation of base concept, which is reactive programming in the respective programming language. Okay, so the first step in order to use RxJava and Rx Kotlin inside our program will be, we need to just go to build.gradle and we need to add the dependency, right? So these are the dependency for Rx Kotlin and RxJava. Okay, we can just change the syntax a little bit as we are using KTS. Okay, and then we can sync our project. So it will download the necessary dependency which we need in order to use RxJava and Rx Kotlin, right? We only need these two dependency. Okay, so for now we are going to create one class, one Kotlin class, okay? And there we will learn about the basic concept of RxJava and Rx Kotlin first, then we will start using inside Android components. Okay, so for now we are going to create one Kotlin file and let's call it playground. Okay, so inside this we will be coding all the things we need, right? So in RxJava or Rx Kotlin, basically in reactive programming, there are three main concepts: observable, observer, and subscription, right? So observable means if there is any component which emits the data, right? If there is some component which can emit the data, that will be called as observable. It can be an API source from where we are getting the data. So it can continuously emit the data, means it can just transmit the data, and there will be one another component called observer. This observer can listen to this observable, right? So there can be multiple observer which can listen to single observable. I will show you this in the code, and this process how one observer is listening the data from observable is called a subscription. So let's start from very basic. Let's say we want to just emit one string, right? Only one string inside a observable, right? So let's say we want to just transmit one string. So you consider it like this: an observable or an asynchronous data stream is just some data in the air. It's like a ball in the air, you can think of. Then there can be n number of players who can run towards that ball, right, to catch that ball. So if there is a ball in the air, that ball is kind of a data stream. You can think it like there is one data inside the sky somewhere, and then there can be n number of players. Players are observer here, okay, who are running to catch that ball. So the concept is like this: there is some data in the air, somewhere there are some data. Now there can be n number of observer who want to listen to that data, right? So the person who is sending this data, that person is called observable, okay? And the person who is just trying to get that data, that person is called observer, right? So one person can send one data, that is observable, but there can be 10 person or more person who want to listen to that data, so they need to just subscribe to that data, right? So this person who want to listen to the data, it's called observer, and it will just try to form one subscription to listen the data, right? So first of all, let's create one main function. Okay, so now the first question is how we can define one observable, right? So we can define any type of observable and it will be a data stream of that respective type. That means if you are defining an observable of a string type, so it will contain string data, right? So let's start defining one string observable. Okay, we need to use observable from RxJava 3.core, this package. Okay, and we just need to use just. Okay, there are different ways to create an observable, but we are going to start with the simplest, and that is just. This just can take a maximum of 10 data values, right? So as you can see inside this pop-up, we can define a max of 10 item inside this. So as we want to define a single value inside our observable, so it's basically like this. We want to have only one value inside this data stream, right? So we can define anything as a string here. So let's say we define one hello message. Okay, this is our very basic string observable, right? We can also define the type here explicitly like this. This is one observable of string type. And let's say if you want to define one more observable of integer type, right? So we can use again observable dot just, and let's say we want to add more item this time, right? So we can define like this. And right now we are at this limit. We have 6 items. We can max define 10 items. So let's try to do that as well. Right now we have 10 items inside our observable, right? And if we try to define more items more than 10, it will not accept, right? It will show us an error that it can take maximum 10 elements only. Now let's say we want to define, an observable of more than 10 values, right? So let's say we have one array, numbers, and we can define one array of, okay, and we can use these items, and let's say we add some more items, right? So now we have more than 10 items and we want to define one observable of this. Okay, so first of all, let's take this number here and we have this manually defined. So instead of defining these numbers manually, we can also pass this array directly inside our observable. Okay, so it will accept. So basically now if you want to define 10 arrays, it can take. Okay, so if I just show you, right now we have 2, 4, 6, 8 and 10. The moment we define the 11th array, it will just show us one error, right? So like this observable dot just can take a max of 10 elements. It can take of any type, but the maximum of 10. So let's get back to its previous state, and now I will show you some other ways. So let's say we are defining number observable, okay, and we can use the same observable. So now we have some other ways, right? So we can use from array, okay, and we can pass this numbers array here and it will create one observable for us. Okay, we have the observables with us. First of all, let's take this numbers array and put it here. Now we have 2 integer observable and 1 string observable. So these are data streams, right? If we want to get the data out of these data streams, how we can do that? That is the next question we have. To get the data out of these data streams, we need to subscribe to these observable. Okay, so let's start with this string observable, and to get the data out of this string observable, we need to use this string observable reference and we need to use this function subscribe by. Okay, this is basically one lambda expression. It will give us access to different state of this observable. Basically an observable has some kind of state, like one activity life cycle we have, right? So we have different state of a activity. Similarly, we have different state of every observable also. If we go to the declaration of this, we have 3 different state of an observable. Either an observable can run into some error, it will give us some error explanation, and if there is some observable and it is emitting some data, right? We have 10 items or 20 items, it is emitting one item at a time, right? So every time it's emitting some item, it will give us a callback inside onNext. Once we emitted all of the items one by one, we emitted all of the items out of our observable, it will give us a callback inside onComplete. Okay, and this subscribe by, this expression gives us all of these events. So inside this we can use onNext. Okay, then we can use onError and we can use onComplete. Okay, this is basically one subscription we have, right? We are subscribing to this string observable and we have these three different state. So now let's add some print statement here, right? So inside onNext we can just add inside onNext, and let's access the data we are getting with the help of it reference. Inside onError as well, let's add one print statement inside onError. Okay, and let's try to get it dot message. If there is some explanation to this error, it will give us. Okay, then inside onComplete as well, let's add one print statement inside onComplete. Okay, now let's try to run this and let's see if it's giving us some data inside our logcat, right? Okay, so our application is running now and we have received these two logs. Okay, so as we have only one item inside our observable, it is coming in onNext, it is printing the value, and then after onNext, it is just coming inside onComplete because there is only one value, right? Now let's try to use this int observable. Okay, and we will just use the same method to add the subscription. Now let's run our program again. Okay, this time we have 10 values, so it is coming inside onNext, it's emitting one value, then again it's coming inside onNext again, and so on, it's printing all of these value. Now let's do one thing, let's try to add thread.sleep for 2 seconds. Okay, so that whenever it will print one value, it will come inside onNext, then it will sleep for 2 seconds, and then again it will print the next value, right? You can see that now it's emitting values one by one. It is just coming inside onNext and then waiting for 2 seconds, again it's printing the next value, right? It's looking beautiful, right? This way, this int observable, it's emitting the value and we are getting inside onNext, and once all the values are emitted, we are getting a callback inside onComplete. So one special thing, one difference between this observable.just and observable.fromArray is, right now we are having the subscription inside this int observable, which is created using observable.just, right? So it is emitting value one by one. It is coming inside onNext, it is emitting one value, then again it's emitting one value. So if we have 10 items, it is emitting all the items one by one. Now let me show you the difference. If we try to use this number observable, and this number observable is created with the help of observable.fromArray. And although our number array is having so many elements, this observable subscription will not emit the data one by one. Like when we was using this int observable, right, which is created using observable.just, so we was getting data one by one. But this observable.fromArray will just give us only one emission. Let me show you this. If we just run it, first of all, let's try to print this to list, so that actually we will get the value of the array. Now you can note that in one emission itself, this observable, which is created with the help of fromArray, it emitted entire array in one emission and then it completed. Just to show you the difference again, if I try to use int observable, okay, so it is not giving us an array, it is giving us the value here. Okay, you can check it, this is kind of int. Okay, if I try to run it, it will give us the emission one by one, right? It is emitting one element, then next element, and then so on. It will emit all of the elements. But if we try to use number observable, which is created with the help of fromArray, then you will notice the difference. You will see that all of the items are emitted at once. This is giving us one array, right? We can just use toList just to see the elements. So this is the difference between observable.from array and observable.just. So friends, that's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you enjoyed it, please like, share, subscribe to my channel. Also please comment down your favorite part, and I will see you in the next video with more interesting RxJava features and their implementation. See you in the next video.